Alright, that was really getting on my nerves, to be honest with you. That's why I don't have the menu music playing, because I don't like it. But what's up, guys? I know it's been a while since I streamed. I was on a good roll there. I was streaming pretty frequently, but I tend to go through these stages of just not even sadness, because to be honest, I'm still happy and fine. I don't know. They're just stages of just like, I struggle. I just get these stages of just wanting to be alone and enjoy games by myself and not stream them. I don't know. It's a problem. I gotta fix it. I don't know how. You guys tell me. I don't know. But anyway, I'm back. I'm here. I'm here and I have an ear. Taki, hello, how are you? CN, thank you for the resub. I appreciate it very much. Tomcat, thank you for doing that resub. I appreciate you guys. Hello to Wolfie as well. If I missed anybody, hello, hello. PTB is out today for the new Chapter 19. There's a new killer, new survivor. There is no new map. As usual, when new content is released, I do tend to stream as soon as it was released. It was released today at 11 a.m. Eastern, basically almost an hour ago. I have already read over, it feels a little glitchy, by the way. It feels not glitchy, that's not the right word. It feels a little laggy, like not very smooth. Not sure why. I want to put it on Ultra, actually. Just to see how it looks in Ultra. Also, they added the Colorblind Mode in the PTB, so that will be something that they hopefully go live with. I think I actually have to switch crossplay off, because I think I had crossplay turned off, because who wants to play crossplay? Not this girl. Oh, I forgot. That doesn't matter, because only PC does the PTB. Ew. Sorry. Anyway, color mode is here. I'm not going to fuck with that because I don't need it. I have good eyes. No, I'm kidding. Haha, joking. Kind of, a little bit. So I'm not going to fuck with that. This is the new killer. His name is the Trickster. The new killer is kind of hot. I was honestly a little worried, but I am pleasantly surprised. I love how the background looks. I love how the killer looks. I love how just all of it looks, honestly. I think it all looks amazing. The perks are kind of stupid. Not really overly interested in the perks. I think killer perks are bad. Survivor perks are bad all around. There's one killer perk. Well, there's one or two killer perks that I'm a little interested in. I will never run them, but it'll be interesting to see how it starts to change the game and how people put those into their builds, and how people use them to play. So I'll go over that stuff. I'm not going to go over his story. I actually read his story in full offline, and it's quite a mouthful. It's a pretty big story. Since I read the whole thing, I can kind of just shorten it up. He is basically a pop star, and he was in a boy band like BTS. His manager kind of plucked him out of, I forget, I don't know if he was in like, I don't know. He had a dad. He did some stuff at his dad's restaurant. A manager saw him, picked him up, put him in a boy band like BTS, and he wanted the attention. Basically, didn't like having to share the attention with the rest of his group. A fire started during a lunch break, and basically he let them die and tried to make it look like he tried to save them and he's a hero. He goes on to turn into being evil, and he loved hearing them scream his name while they died, basically. So then he goes on like a murdering spree and starts killing people, and then his music label basically tells him that his music isn't really selling anymore, and that they want him to start selling the music that he wants to sing, or that they want him to sing. So he winds up killing them all and saving his manager, because his manager was like always on his side or whatever. So he doesn't kill his manager, who winds up being the survivor. And she watches him kill off his whole management team, basically, like the producers, stuff like that. And then they get put into this fog, which is the Dead by Daylight realm, I guess, and then that's his story in a nutshell. So yeah, K-pop, basically. So that's basically what all these paragraphs are combined. There's some pretty gruesome killings if you want to go and read it. Some of the killings that he does. I actually enjoyed reading it. I don't usually read the lore. I'm not too big into it, but I just kind of wanted to read a little more into the background of him. It is. It's different. It's very different, honestly, but it's cool. I like it. I was a little concerned when I had some clues about what this chapter might be and how it might look. I was a little concerned with it, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed it so far. I have not played a game, so I have not tried out his power. I have not tried out anything of anything. I've only did an overlook of the perks, his skill, his story. The same with her. I did not read her story actually. I feel like it could probably just be summed up in the basic of her side, basically, same as his for the most part, but I didn't read her story. She's okay. We'll get to her. We'll go over the perks and his skill, and then we'll switch over to her. And then, as always, I'm going to start with Survivor just because it tends to be harder to play Killer on PTB because everyone's trying to play Killer. So we'll start out with Survivor. I'll probably be streaming for quite a while. So later on in the day, I may switch over and try some Killer games when people get home from work or school or whatever it may be at the end of the day. And there'll be more people on, and maybe I'll be able to get some Killer games quicker. And we'll see how the queues work for Killer. So we're going to start with Survivor, and then later on in a couple of hours, we'll probably switch over and attempt to play Killer at some point. So his first perk is Starstruck. Starstruck activates when you are carrying a survivor. Survivors within your terror radius suffer from the exposed status effect for 20 seconds. Starstruck cooldown is 90 seconds once the survivor is no longer carried. Basically, to put it in simple terms, it's like Make Your Choice, but with terror radius. So, you know, when you have people that are coming in and trying to get blinds or trying to take hits, basically, if you're in that terror radius while he has someone on his shoulders, you're going to be exposed. So taking hits for people while they're trying to get to the hook may be a little more difficult if people choose to run this perk. How well it's going to work, what kind of builds can you make with this, I think it'll be really interesting. I think this is potentially a really good perk, and I probably will try it. If it ends up in a permanent build, we'll see. We'll see how often it actually comes into play. People do tend to... I feel like this is a really good perk if you see you're playing against a 4-man SWF. If you have a feeling that the group that you're playing with looks a little organized in the lobby, and it looks like they may be together, I feel like this may be a really good perk to run, or you have a lot of flashlights in the lobby or something that looks like they are potentially going to try and stop you from hooking someone. This would be a really good perk to use. Then you have Hex Crowd Control. Before I even start reading this one, I think this one is stupid. It makes no sense to me. It's dumb. That's my opinion. Here we go. A hex, which is a dull totem that has a hex put onto it, which means you can cleanse it, like Noed, Ruin, Undying, Devour, Hope, Haunted Ground, things like that. The entity blocks a window for 10 seconds after a survivor performs a rushed vault through it. So that basically means any window that you run through and jump through, whether it's a medium vault or a fast vault, that's what's going to happen. As long as you're holding shift when you're jumping through these windows, the window will be blocked for 10 seconds. To me, that's a pretty dumb perk considering it's tied to a totem, which means it can be taken out at any point. And if you really wanted to block windows, you could just run Bamboozle, where you go through it once and it's locked, and you keep the perk throughout the entire round. It's not tied to a hex, and you don't lose it at some point. It just sounds stupid. It makes no sense. Why in God's name would you ever want to tie any skill to a perk, to a hex perk, is what I'm trying to say. Like, we hate hex perks to begin with because the shit gets taken instantly. And that perk is just not... There's Bamboozle. Why would you choose a shittier version of a better perk? It's like you have a magnificent you have a fucking masterpiece of a pizza in front of you, like fucking grade A tier, like ingredients and shit, and then you got like a cold ass, hard ass pizza in front of you, but it's pizza, so what's it matter? So you're just gonna eat the shitty pizza instead of the fucking badass pizza that's sitting right next to it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's my opinion on that perk. Well, that's what it is. Magnificent. I know. That's what I was trying to get out. It came out differently. I don't know. But this perk makes no sense to me. Why would you want a perk that you can break when you could just use a perk that you can keep? I don't know. Who knows? Not me. The last perk is No Way Out. This is another really interesting perk that I think it'll be really interesting to see how killers use this and how their builds change and how people's play styles come into this when using this perk. I think that possibly a lot of people who play using Noed and Blood Warden will use this to their advantage, and it could be pretty dirty. But we'll see. So basically, each time you hook a unique survivor, No Way Out gains a token. So this is a token perk. You gain stacks. When the last generator is repaired, all 5 generators, the entity blocks both exit gate switches for 8 seconds for each token in your possession. So basically, when you hook a survivor, each survivor can be hooked max 3 times before death. On their 3rd hook, they die. Of course, you get less tokens if someone struggles on first hook. That takes away a token of yours. So max you can get 3, 6, 9, 12. So max you could possibly get is 12 tokens. But at that point, it doesn't matter because that means all survivors are dead and there is no need for exit gates to begin with. So you will have to have at least 11 tokens max before it matters anything to you. In cases where maybe you close the hatch and all 3 survivors are dead. All 3 survivors were hooked 3 times apiece. Your 4th survivor has already been hooked twice and they're on their death hook. That would be your 12th hook. And they're trying to open an exit gate. It would be 8 seconds per token. So 8 seconds per time somebody was hooked. So if 2 survivors were hooked 3 times apiece, they're dead. There's 2 survivors left and somebody wants to open the exit door. It's going to be 8 seconds per those hooks. So that's 6 tokens. So 6, 12, 18. So that's 18. Did I just do that right? Yeah, 18 seconds? Yeah. Right. Am I mathing that right? Anyway, math is not my strong suit. 8 seconds per each time you hook someone for the exit gates. It takes that long for them to be unlocked, basically. Figure it out. I like this perk. It seems really interesting. I'm not someone who tends to have the mind frame of getting to exit gates. My games usually end before generators get completed. Not to toot my own horn or anything, so I don't tend to need end game perks. I tend to use builds that benefit me during the game because usually most people are dead and don't get that chance with me. Not trying to toot my own horn. It is what it is. I was trying to math how many seconds it would be. So if, like I was saying, 2 people are dead and they both got all 3 of their hooks in before they died, they didn't struggle on first, that would mean that's 9 tokens for the perk. So that's 8 seconds for 9 tokens. So 9 times 8 is however many that time. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72. So that would be 72 seconds that the gates would be locked because it's 8 seconds per token. 2 people dead, 3 hooks apiece. That's 9. Yeah? 72. Yeah, see, my math. I can math sometimes. So that's 72 seconds that the exit gates are locked, that you cannot get on it to open it, is what that means. I can see more keys coming into play. I think it's an interesting perk, and it'll be interesting to see how many people run it. I don't believe that many rank 1 killers are going to use this perk that often, because most really good killers, like I stated, they don't tend to use end game perks. They tend to use perks that are going to benefit them during the round, because most good killers don't have 5 gens get completed with a good amount of people alive. It just doesn't happen, so... I agree, Taki. I don't think that the perks are very good at all. His 2 perks are semi-interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how people use them. But overall, the survivor perks, I don't like at all. Period. Like, at all, period. Oh, I didn't do his skill. So his skill, I always read his skill, but it's a lot easier for me to understand once I actually play the game and I see how he's being used. So when I read these things, it always just kind of sounds like a lot of words that I'm spewing, and I really don't understand it until I play it. But I'll read it, and then we'll see how that plays out. Unlucky and Love subscribed to tier 3. They're subscribed for 15 months, currently on a 14-month streak. Thank you, Vin. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for the lurk. I appreciate that as well. You're awesome. Okay, so his skill is called Showstopper, which kind of bothers me for personal reasons, but whatever. Start the trial with 60 blades. Press and hold the power button to wind up and enter the throw state. So I didn't realize he had a certain amount of blades to use. I figured it was just unlimited, but... I know that you're currently working, so I appreciate you taking the moment to lurk. It's very kind of you. I hope work is going well. While in the throw state, tap the attack button to throw a single blade or hold down the attack button to unleash a flurry of blades. Throwing a flurry increases control and throw rate while decreasing movement speed. Restock blades at lockers. Oh, okay, you can restock them. I completely missed that part when I was reading it earlier. So you can restock kind of like the Huntress. That's just a little weird to me, but okay. Laceration Meter. A survivor's Laceration Meter increases each time they're hit by a blade. Once the meter is filled, they will lose a health state, either become injured or downed. A survivor's Laceration Meter will gradually decrease if they have not been hit by a blade for a short time. Hitting a survivor with a basic attack will immediately decrease their Laceration Meter. Oh, interesting. Okay, well that's... okay. Okay, so it's kind of like if you were to have a meter for like Ghostface, how much stock you've given them, and when Ghostface hits you, it takes off that stock, so your stock is reset when you hit them with your basic attack if you were stalking them. So it's kind of like that. It just decreases the amount of blades, the blade bar basically, that you've hit them with to either injure them or down them, if that makes any sense. Can't hear sound is not on, but not muted. Speakers are off. Okay. A survivor's laceration meter will gradually decrease. Did I read that? Did I read that part? Okay, I did read that part. Special ability main event. Each blade hit fills the event meter. Once full, main event can be activated by pressing the ability button. In this mode, the Trickster temporarily unleashes his full potential, wielding an unlimited number of blades. His throw rate is significantly increased and his movement does not slow while in the throw state. So here I'll try to explain this as simple as I can. It sounds like I understand it pretty well. So you start out with 60 blades. You could probably change that with add-ons. I'm sure there's going to be add-ons that either increase the amount of blades that you start with or increase the amount of blades that you get when you fill back up at lockers. I'm sure that there's add-ons that will accompany obviously his skill. You start out with 60 blades. You can throw, I think it's one blade, a single blade, yes, or you can hold the button down and it'll unleash a bunch of blades up until you run out, obviously. With each blade's doing damage to the survivor will have a meter at how far, kind of like, I'll explain it with the Plague. I can see how they like implemented different skills from like the Plague and Ghostface and kind of combined it. So with the Plague, you know how you get sick? Or the Ghostface, you have a bar that fills when you're being stalked. You see, well, actually, you don't see how far you've been stalked with Ghostface, but with the Plague, when you're sick, you see the little circle around you and how far you are until you're broken from her vomit. It's kind of the same. You'll have a meter that shows you just how many blades have hit you, and to the point where you're going to get into an injured state, whether that be healthy to injured or injured to fallen. And with every hit that he makes on you, he has his own meter, and once that meter's full, he can change into his main power, which is kind of like Oni when he collects enough blood, he can roid rage. It's the same with him, and with his, it means that he has an unlimited amount of blades, he doesn't run out, and it's a longer length that he can throw it at. But also know when hit with his normal power, when he throws blades at you, if he stops throwing them and you escape the chase and he doesn't find you, that bar is going to go down. So let's say you're healthy and he threw a bunch of blades at you. It doesn't make you injured immediately. He has to hit you with enough of those, enough to go down a health state. So if he throws a couple at you, but then he loses you, that meter will start to go down some for as long as he is not throwing them at you. So it has to be consistent enough to eventually down you or injure you. Kind of like the Plague, where she has to vomit on you enough to get you into that next health state. Yes, but the killer isn't released. This is PTB. From what some people are saying, some of the people who leak, the killer will not be released to the live version of the game until March 23rd. So I feel like I explained his skill a good amount. I'm actually surprised at the amount that I understood his skill. I'm gonna play, and then it'll probably be much easier to understand at that point. So there's that, and then we'll switch over to Survivor. I'll give you a little look-see. I don't think he has any cosmetics right now. They usually don't show you any cosmetics in the PTB. I'll give you a little twirl. And then we'll switch over to the survivor. Well, he wasn't linked, just kind of information about him, and this chapter was released. People had ideas. So this is a survivor. She is the manager who kind of like took him over and put him under her wing and like got him to the success that he had and believed him and all that other stuff. I did not read her story, so if you're interested in her story, you're gonna have to read that on your own because that is just a lot of reading. So go for it. We'll start with her perks. Her perks are Fast Track. Whenever another survivor is hooked, you gain 1 token. You consume all tokens after a great skill check on a generator. Each token consumed grants a 1% bonus progression for great skill checks when repairing generators. I mean, it's pretty simple. Whenever another survivor is hooked, you gain a token. So if a survivor's hooked, you gain a token for 1% faster progression for skill checks. Like, I'm not interested. What's up, Potato? She looks great. I like how she looks. I don't like the outfit very much, but I feel like she could have some really cool cosmetics. This perk is stupid. I don't see myself ever using it. It makes no sense. Smash Hit. After stunning the killer with a pallet, break into a sprint at 150% your normal running speed for 3 seconds. Causes the exhaust status effect for 60 seconds. Hold on, my mini decides she wants to watch her tablet up here, and it's extremely loud, and I have to turn it down. So basically, a lot of people are saying you could use this perk with the other perk that makes you throw down a pallet if the killer walks through it, with a certain amount of wiggle progression done. You throw the pallet down, which is a stun, then you get that burst of speed. I don't really see the point. You could always just run sprint burst if you really wanted that badly. This perk is stupid as well. To each their own. You want to run that, have fun with it. Self-preservation. Whenever another survivor within 12 meters of you gets hit by a basic attack or special attack, self-preservation activates. Your scratch marks are hidden for 6 seconds. So I feel like this perk kind of went hand in hand with the killer perk, where the killer you basically get exposed if you're within the killer's terror radius while he's carrying a survivor. I feel like this kind of goes hand in hand. I feel like this perk is trying to make you want to go in to take a hit because it gives the other survivor no scratch marks. So it's kind of making you like intrigued to run in for like a hit, but at the same time, he could be running the other perk that will make you exposed and then down you. So I think there's some play on both of these perks. I'm not going to use this. 6 seconds with no scratch marks doesn't really mean anything. So I'm not overly interested. All of her perks are garbage. I don't see myself ever running hers. 2 of his perks are semi-interesting. I definitely will only possibly give one of his perks an actual chance in one of my builds. They both look amazing. The story is pretty cool. I think it's different and unique to add to this game. It's a different kind of dimension. And I think that's cool. I don't mind it personally. I know a lot of people will see this as like, this isn't horror, doesn't look horror, it's not this, that, whatever you want to call it. But I think it looks fucking pretty cool and badass. So I'm happy with how they look. I'm happy with the background. I wish that like they allowed us to have our own background. So like all the different killers, all the different chapters that they've released with each killer, you know how they'll have a different one for each killer, whatever. I wish that they allowed us to keep one, like the ones that are already released, because I would never change this one. This one would be my permanent. I love it. I just think it looks great. There is no new map. They did not release a new map with this chapter, so it's just the survivor and the killer, unfortunately. I think that was kind of a letdown because I think they missed a great opportunity to make an awesome looking map for this chapter. So no map.